Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Thursday, May 15th Planning Board meeting. Board members, have you had a chance to review the minutes?
Yep.
Yes. Can I get a motion? To approve?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Minutes have been approved. Chairman's update. It's been brought to my attention that we have a few applicants that'll be coming back to the board. We do have the order of conditions that have been reviewed by council for 860. The one that is coming back to us is brought to my attention, 1753 Broadway, which was the storage facility. They're due back, that they'll probably have an informal discussion at the next meeting. We'll turn to consulting engineer,
Yep.
Kevin Allen.
Good evening. Just had a couple items to update, as we haven't met in a little while from the engineering department. So we have no opinion on the discussion tonight. As the chair mentioned, 860 Broadway, they got up to date with some of their stormwater requirements. And the list of requirements is being reviewed by council to be sent over to them. The things we talked about somewhat at the last meeting, the as-builts, the plan for phased occupancy. So the ball will be back in their court to begin addressing those before coming back to another planning board meeting. 1753 has reached out. Mentioned to them there was a planning board condition about a 2-year period of, inactivity would require them to come back. After mentioning that as a courtesy, we quickly got a letter from their lawyer saying how it's not applicable. So that's under review. So I'll update that. I don't know if there's an opinion from the board, but that's where it sits. They've submitted a stormwater permit, but
They still owe the engineering department some information, correct?
yes, there was a condition to discuss the water and sewer hookup, which was never done by them. The people working on the project seem proactive, okay to work with so far. But I provide them a list of documents from the planning board decision, the work plans, there's a blasting plan, all the standard construction master plan. So as those come in, we'll update the board. Gotten a call from Marchanda Associates saying they're working on the Kowloon master plan, so could expect to see that here end of June, sometime in July. And that is, those are the three I wanted to touch on. If you guys have any questions about any other sites or those specific things on those sites that you'd want an update at next meeting, just let me know.
You will be at the meeting for 1753 on that informal discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Long?
Kevin, at 860, that third building, the one that's 15 feet off the residential line, did you mention to them that's supposed to be 50? That they
No, but I know what you're talking about. So that'll be one of the items.
That we can't give, at this board, we can't give a variance on the side yards, front yard, backyard, whatever. They can go to the Board of Appeals before they get that thing constructed. And because of the terrain behind it, they can ask for, some sort of a special permit. I'm just saying, I think I'd rather see something like that done than just have us go ahead and accept a 15-yard backyard where 50 is required.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
I can't speak on it.
I'm just saying, informal.
Yeah, no, I get it. I appreciate it, Mr. Long. Board members, any questions?
I would just ask, what review level did the board have on that for it to be up and built, but now we're talking about it, was it a change after approval in your opinion, or?
There was a change trying to slip something else in because there was a moratorium on building. So they applied for a subdivision. Subdivision rules and regulations changed, went to a master plan. Under our rules and regulations, and not just I'm speaking of our rules and regulations, it says that there are no waivers in the sustainable highway. Either it makes it or it doesn't. There are 7 waivers that were allowed because it was filed as a subdivision. They kept those waivers and adapted them into the master plan. It should never happen. But that was the chairman's fault last time around, so.
Okay. I understand.
But it's something, there's just a little knowledge of why it got to where it is, so.
Page 123 of our zoning regulations. It says, it reads, it's section C here, it says setbacks of rear, 50 feet. We're not authorized to give, that comes from the Board of Appeals on the side yard and on the Board of Selectmen on the height.
Okay. So although it's being constructed, having some documentation of a variance.
Master plan, site plan, I mean, doesn't make much difference. We don't have the ability to bury that. I know the designer of it said we did, but I've kept this damn thing with a clip on it ever since I last saw him last summer. Just to read it. You see, if I'm wrong, tell me when I'm wrong. But there's, like I said, you got a sheer wall behind it. And to me, you got maybe, possibly, a topography issue there. And,
Mr. Long, perhaps you can write it up, we can turn it over to general counsel. We can give it to our counsel for a ruling to see what
Sure.
we should do with it.
be glad to.
Thank you. Anything else? Nancy, do we have any new subdivisions or site plan submissions? Nothing come in? I'm getting a motion to take a short recess.
I'll make a motion that we take a recess till 7:15 public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So those- It's now 7:15. I'd like to move on with the public hearing. Recommendation to town meeting, amendment article 22, special requirements for marijuana establishment, section 22.4, eligible locations for the marijuana establishments. Mr. Serino?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members.
Mike Serino, 54 Gates Road. Deb Panetta and I are sponsoring an article for town meeting, limiting the marijuana establishments in Saugus. Town meeting back in 2022, I believe, approved the sale of marijuana, even though the residents of the community voted it down 53% to 47%. 53 against selling recreational marijuana and 47 for. For it. So I know Deb and I got up and spoke against it at town meeting, but town meeting wanted to approve it, and they did approve it on Route 1 only. And I'm trying to be fair at the time. I know I sat on the Board of Selectmen when the applicants came before us, and I supported one on each side of the highway. My opinion is that's all I believe should be on Route 1. I don't think it will bring in any additional revenue. Even if you had 2 or 3 on each side of the Route 1, it wouldn't bring in any additional revenue. At the time, there was mention about 3 licenses available, possibly 4. But according to state statute 94G, the marijuana establishments, they're based on how many off-premise liquor licenses you have. In Saugus, we have 12. 6 are package stores. Then you have 6 that can just sell wine and malt liquor like liqueur, but no hard liquor. So we have 12. It's 20% of how many licenses you can sell in town off premise. So we have 12. 20% of 12 is 2.4 licenses. We're being sued. We issued the 2 licenses, nothing involved but lawsuits. The town's been spending money on lawsuits for these 2 establishments. They're suing each other. We're getting dragged into it. We're going to Superior Court, and they're dragging us into land court. Now we're being sued again for a 3rd license that we, honestly, my opinion, we don't even have, because it's 2.4. 20% is based on the 12 off-premise licenses, and that comes out to 2.4. But they're suing the town again for a 3rd license. So this is why we said, you know what, enough's enough over here. You have to look at what type of community do you want. Do you want marijuana establishments all up and down Route 1? The revenue projections that people are projected are not even close. They're minimal that these establishments are bringing in. In fact, I did an analysis of, I went from the surrounding communities in Saugus all the way up to the New Hampshire border, up 95 and Route 1. We're about 12 establishments. With the exception of 3, all the establishments have lost money from 2022 to 2024. The 25 numbers are not out yet by the Department of Revenue. They're losing money. It's very insignificant. So this is why we propose this, because you don't know what the state is going to do down the line. They could increase that 20% to 50% and allow more cities and towns to put these establishments around. But like I say, they're only exclusively, when that town meeting passed the bylaw in 2022, exclusively for Route 1 only. So we figured 1 on each side of Route 1, which we approved. And like I say, the people did vote against it, but I was trying to be a little fair here, and, where it was a close vote, and say, well, let's do 1 on each side, and that's it. But that's just my thought. So this is why we propose this bylaw. We want to try to be fair to everybody in town, especially the 53% that voted against it.
How many applicants do you know how many applicants the town got?
Pardon?
How many applicants for these 2 places?
There were 7.
It was 7 at that time.
Yeah,
7.
7, yeah. For and Deb will speak on the committee that was formed with all the town, the fire chief, police chief, and they recommended the 2 that Deb and I supported. So we said, well, let's go with the 2, 1 on each side, and we got bombarded with lawsuits. So now we're going to have either the ABCC down the line, the state changing the rules, saying, well, you can have more now than the 20%, or you're gonna have the courts dictating to the town how many establishments we're gonna have. You know, they'll run the court.
I thought that was gonna be up to the town, whether they wanted more than.
Nothing's up to the town when it comes to the state. You know, it's tough. They can change the rules of the game anytime they want. But that's the reason why we put in for the bylaw. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Serino. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Deborah Panetta. I live at 1 Bellevue Street. Mr. Chairman, board members, ladies and gentlemen, I may reiterate a little bit of what Selectman Serino just said, and I want to thank you for taking this up tonight. We think it's the right thing to do to number the number of marijuana dispensaries in our town, one on each side of Route 1. How many do we really need? Just a little bit of history, as Selectman Serino said that I was going to discuss. Town meeting voted in May 2022 to approve a change amending the town zoning bylaws to allow for adult-use marijuana establishments in our town. At that time, there were 7 establishments that submitted RFIs to the town. There has been more inquiries since, but at that time, there were 7. These responses were evaluated by the Town Marijuana Establishment Review Committee. Some people call it MERC as an acronym. And it was comprised of the town manager, Scott Crabtree, our police chief, Michael Riccadelli, our fire chief, Michael Newberry, our director of public health, John Freilich, procurement director, Michelle Wendell, planning board member, Jeannie Meredith, and building commissioner, Michael LaVecchia. Now, currently, as Selectman Serino said, the Board of Selectmen have voted for 2 S2 permits. It started off with sanctuary medicinals, and that's where the 99 was. That was one of the 2 that were recommended. Uma Flowers at that time, even though it was the top dispensary that was recommended, did not get the 4 votes needed to move forward. They sued the town, they went to court, and then they came back to the board, and when they came back to the board again, they got 4 votes. As I mentioned, these are the 2, both Sanctuary Medicinals and Uma Flowers, that were recommended by the review committee, and they were the only 2 establishments that were recommended. So what are the issues surrounding this? Well, the amount of time and effort spent on bringing marijuana to our town has been significant. We have spent tens of thousands of dollars in lawsuits. And we, as Selectman Serino said, we have another one still pending. And we haven't seen any revenue. It's just been expense and time. There has been no benefit to us to date. I also think it's important to note that in 2022, there was a state law requiring that all municipalities to document and justify cannabis impact fees. And those have to be linked to actual costs imposed by the cannabis businesses. I'm sure you've all read that in Boston, they gave money back to the cannabis businesses as well as some of the other communities. All they got fined by cannabis businesses, so these cities and towns had to give money back. I think that's important because I don't know how adding additional dispensaries on top of the 2 that they already received S2 permits for, which they have not got their host community agreement yet, just to mention. But I don't know how additional dispensaries are going to add any more revenue to Saugus when it comes in terms of impact fees. In closing, I think the town should focus on the 2 establishments that were given the S2 permits and not look to add additional establishments to our town. We need to stop the bleeding in our town and stop these lawsuits. There is no public need, I feel, for a 3rd or 4th or whatever the state may decide in the future in our town. And I think that Selectman Serino hit the nail on the head when he said State statute can always change, the regulations can change, and we want to protect our community. I thank you very much for your time and your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a public meeting. Anyone wishing to speak in favor or against? Seeing none? Well,
Mr. Chairman, just a quick, I haven't really followed this at my age. I'll settle for coffee, something like that. But can you tell me where the locations that have been granted are?
The one at the 99, where the 99 used to be,
Yeah?
and then there's an empty lot next to, you know where the Army barracks is?
Yes, back, setback,
To the left of that, right almost on the borderline with Linfield.
okay.
So those are the two that have been granted. At least they got S2 permits, not host community agreements as of yet.
Right.
Just to add on to that, I supported those two locations, Bob, is because Linfield, Peabody, Danvers, they do not sell marijuana.
Oh,
So I figured they'd come down Route 1 to Saugus too. Actually, there's a whole bunch of communities. Like I said, I went from here to the New Hampshire line. Boxford, Danvers, Groveland, Hamilton, Ipswich, Linfield, Manchester by the Sea, Marblehead, Middleton, Peabody, Revere, Rockport, Topsfield, Wakefield, and Wenham. They all do not sell marijuana. And if they decide to sell marijuana, that'll only impact the establishments that are already set up. Like I say, I looked at 12 communities, and all of them, with the exception of 3 that sell them now, have lost money in the last 2 years. Their revenue went down. And I did speak to Deputy Director of the Department of Revenue that does, she's the director of the data bank that puts all information together, revenue expenditures and everything. And she even said, Mike, as more open up, everybody's revenue is going to drop. She said, I see it now in the statistics, so thank you.
thank you.
thank you, Mr. Sereno. Board members, do we have any other questions? Everyone understands what has been told to us?
Yes, sir.
So,
I just, bylaw change, because we were putting in writing, it would be on northbound, southbound,
right, this is only
and then in paper, on the paper.
this is only a suggestion to the town meeting members. I don't know what else can come out of it. Nope. Board members, I'd like to recommend that we make a motion to approve these two locations.
You're gonna close the hearing?
Well, we should close we could close the hearing. Oh, got up spoke. We'll take a motion to close the hearing.
So move.
Second,
Second, sorry.
all in favor?
Aye.
So I'll go back to,
I'm choosing.
thank you, go on.
Don't mind me, John, I'm just,
No, that you
I'm
got it.
talking right now.
Yeah. So I have a motion that I'm asking for a second on to approve these two locations.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. So we will recommend to town meeting, as this warrant is written, for those two locations to go forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you,
thank you for
Mr.
your
Chairman
time.
and board members, we appreciate it.
Any other discussion, town meetings? I mean, for planning board members?
I have done.
Okay. Motion
Move to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Planning board meeting is now adjourned.
Just,